Dakota Destinations on Midco Sports Network is presented by VisitPierSD.com.
Welcome to Dakota Destinations. We've got a lot of adventures to show you on this week's episode. First, we're going to start with bow fishing on Lake Sakakawea in North Dakota, and then we're going to make our way southeast to Clear Lake, South Dakota, to what some call America's most natural rodeo. And from there, we're going to go even further south to Sioux Falls, where a sports complex is changing how athletes train. So first, it's a father-son duo that shows us a less conventional way to catch fish. We join them now on Lake Sakakawea.
Nothing on this boat whatsoever. Oh, he got another. That's how it goes. He's a shank shaker. He's coming. He's coming.
We meet Bob Ackerman and son Rob at a public access on the southeast side of Lake Sakakawea. And just by their rig, it's easy to see they are big on bow fishing.
There's the carp swimming right
Right there. Got him.
Yep. How far do you want to run? Half mile?
I want to run out right away to the spot.
Oh, okay.
I want to go.
Their 20-foot grizzly tracker is rigged specifically for bow fishing. Rail lights, trolling setups, a tank for the fish they stick, bow racks. When you fish in this boat, you're bow fishing.
Before us feed them fiberglass for lunch.
You got him.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the shots we like right there.
Bow fishing in North Dakota is open April 1st to November 30th. Only rough fish can be shot. Common carp, buffalo carp, and suckers, the most common in North Dakota waters.
Any non-game species is all that we're allowed to shoot. There's a huge buffalo right there. And you got him. Well, there goes my $5.
That's what we're after right there, boys.
That is a big fish, Rob. Huh?
Looked easy, right?
It did. You made that look easy.
Darn, and I had
One shot and it was over.
I didn't want to miss on film, you know.
That's a buffalo.
Out of the buffalo
here. Oh, this is what you call a largemouth buffalo. As you can see, he's got the bigger mouth. Smallmouth will actually curl down. Smallmouth buffalo will start to, the lips will actually kind of curl down, and they actually get, I call them shoulders. They look like two bumps on their back, where it looks like a set of shoulders on their back. But that's what we're after.
Warm water is one thing, yes. And small bays, backwater bays is one of the bays that we concentrate on. Yeah. We look for a lot of weed growth along the shorelines. Okay. And in Lake Sakakawea, fortunately, the water is rising quite substantially high, so it makes a tremendous amount, a lot of weed bed along the shorelines, and that's where a lot of the carp and buffalo carp will congregate. And definitely clear water, which we have up here, which is really nice. It makes it this awesome shooting up here.
Bob Ackerman grew up on a farm east of Bismarck.
There, finally.
In his teen years, he had a fiberglass bow that he mounted with a fishing spool.
I spined him, so he's not even going to fight.
No. That's a debilitating shot right there, isn't it, Bob?
That is. That's how we like to take them down. They're laying in the weeds pretty thick in the shadows.
Years later, his interest in bow fishing was reignited thanks to son Rob. He got hooked on the sport following the flood on the Missouri River in 2011.
The river is pretty much shut down where we couldn't access it from a boat, and we hit it perfect where the spawn of the carp and buffalo was right at that time, and everybody started shooting from the shoreline. And that's how I actually started getting really into it. And it just, one thing led to another where we did that all summer long.
And so after the flood, we knew that there was actually people out there with hundreds and hundreds of people with equipment, but now most of them are shooting from shore. And that's when we decided to throw a boat together and start doing the business with the boat to give those people an opportunity to get out on the water rather than the shoreline.
Yeah.
So a lot of this backwaters here would be really tough to get into off the shore.
Okay, I'll take the left one here. You guys shoot whenever you feel like it.
Go ahead, Dan.
You got him. Nice shot.
Bob and Rob gave birth to Carp Guy Bow Fishing, a guide service devoted solely for bow fishing.
Kind of loving this, huh?
I love it.
Rob?
I love doing this. It's one of those things that here we thought we was done, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can see it progressing into more of a mainstream sport with more and more sportsmen doing it. There's a lot of boats out there now, are going to be a lot more boats out there now with light systems on them, which is great. I mean, that's what we want to see. So, and we're getting a lot better, our sportsmen are getting a lot better about disposing of the fish properly, taking care of them that way, and that's what we want to see.
I gave him an opportunity to swim away to grow bigger.
There is a learning curve to bow fishing. I experienced it firsthand. Shot after shot, my arrow flew above the intended target. The refraction of the water plays tricks with your eyes.
One way to tell when you watch your arrow hit the water and go through the water, if you have clean water, if you have a constant stream of bubbles, that means you went over the top of the fish. If your bubbles make a break, and you have a spot where there's no bubbles, then you went under, and when he swam, you broke up those bubbles. So it's one way to tell yourself that you're shooting too high or you're too low. If you have a fish on the end of the line, you did just right.
A little different with this fish.
Yeah, this one's got a little act. I shot him a little low.
Yeah.
Which is okay. Give him a little gaff act.
We do shoot a bow that is designed strictly basically for bow fishing. It's a PSE Discovery 2.
Yep.
We retrofit them with the AMS reels. We do have some others that are fitted with the Muzzy reel. These have basically just like a giant Zebco with the drag on it.
Right.
These have just only 60 feet of string, and it's tied off in the back. When you run out of string, you're hang on.
That's it.
Solid fiberglass arrow. They have a barbed tip. The tip loosens up, and this shank will flip around, so you can retrieve the arrow back out of the fish without having to tear the fish open or cut it. You pull this back, and you keep sure that the tip is always snug. That way, it doesn't fold back forward. We shoot with no sights. The only reason we shoot strictly by instinct. Another centered cranium shot. If you're trying to take aim with a sight, by the time you take aim, the fish is gone. It takes a while to get the knack of it. Once you find your happy spot, it's a lot of fun. So that'd be a lot less eggs floating in the system.
Which is a great thing.
Which is a good thing.
Every angler is happy about that.
Yep. These are big fish-eating aquatic nuisance that we try to dispose of.
The season runs April 10th through November 30th, so you've got plenty of time to take part in bow fishing. Well, up next, we head to South Dakota, where hillside seating is preferred for a 3-day rodeo.
Dakota Destinations on Midco Sports Network is presented by VisitPierSD.com. Dakota Destinations on Midco Sports Network is presented by VisitPierSD.com.
Welcome back to Dakota Destinations. Clear Lake, South Dakota is home to the Crystal Springs Rodeo, and it's this rodeo that rounds up thousands every June and has been since the 1940s. Here's some history behind the popular summertime destination.
It started just like any other duck pond in the Coteau Hills of northeast South Dakota. Clean, cool water left by melted glacier more than 12,000 years ago. 70 years ago, a man sat atop his horse, looked down across the rolling prairie, and saw what most could not: a natural bowl in the earth. prairie grass covered hills surrounded the pond. And so it began. In 1945, E.W. Weisel, his wife Jo, and daughter Cleo drained the pond and flattened the bottom. A massive amount of rock was removed and hauled to the top of 3 hills, where it can still be seen today, anchoring 3 American flags.
My father started it back in the early 40s. There were Wild West shows at those days, and this man would have a couple of truckloads of stock, a couple of bucking horses, and then they'd go to a county fair or something. And, well, it got fall, and this man didn't have any shows to put on, couldn't find any spot to put on one, and he wanted a place to water or keep his stock, so he came to Crystal Springs. And my father realized that he had to find a spot for this man to rodeo, or he might have them all winter.
The first performance brought in hundreds of fans, but Weisel saw something more. He imagined thousands of people sitting on the hillsides cheering on cowboys. That became a reality within a couple of years. Weisel was once quoted, "I'm just a cowboy that had a dream, and I made that dream come true."
And he did have this dream of this slough that had 3.5 sides of hillsides, just natural. And so they got a bunch of corn cribbing to make an arena and dug it up and put this up, advertised it word of mouth just a few days, and put on a rodeo on Saturday.
His dad rides out from town and sits down on the trench and says, E.W., you know what they're saying about you in town? He says, well, I guess I really don't care. Well, his dad says, I'm going to tell you anyway. They're saying that you are crazy. But it was his dream. And he's the one that had the dream to put a rodeo here. And the goal ever since has been to try keep that dream alive.
He oversaw the rodeo for 25 years before passing the torch, entertaining crowds of up to 20,000 during the 3-day performance. After a couple of dry years, the rodeo was in steady decline until a group of local businessmen formed Crystal Springs Rodeo, Inc. in 1985.
Together with several folks from town, we got a group together and sat down with E.W. Weisel and said, can we put on a rodeo? And he said, yes, you can. We got Mr. Sutton to come in with his contract and asked him if he could put the rodeo on in that short a notice. He says, yes, you can. So in '85, there was 10 of us that formed a corporation, Crystal Springs Rodeo, Inc.
I rodeoed for about 30 years, from border to border, coast to coast, and I never came across another rodeo like this. The atmosphere is unique. It's down in a natural bowl. If it's something that you're thinking about, well, you better just quit thinking and just do it. It seemed like I was there for forever, and you know what? I was there my entire rodeo career, and I'm pretty proud of that. And I'm very thankful for that. CSR is family and friends, and a lot of warm and wonderful memories for me. CSR is my favorite place to be.
This is the 71st anniversary of the Crystal Springs Rodeo, and it takes place on June 23rd through the 25th. Well, up next, we head a little further south to Sioux Falls, where a 3-year-old facility is making a significant difference in the health and wellness community.
Dakota Destinations on Midco Sports Network is presented by VisitPierSD.com.
Welcome back to Dakota Destinations. Sioux Falls is already marked on the map for being the largest metropolitan city in the state of South Dakota. It's a hub for entertainment and events, but there's a newer addition that lives just north of the city, away from the hustle and bustle, that's attracting sports fans and athletes of every age.
This is an average field, and for most of this land's life, it has held no significance to those that drove by. This area's only validity came from being located just north of the largest city in South Dakota, Sioux Falls. Although there are still remnants that this area was once located in the middle of nowhere, it's now a desirable destination for many across the country. 4 colossal figures make up the Sanford Sports Complex, and it's these giants that house unique resources for athletes and active lifestyles. At 85,000 square feet with 62,000 square feet of turf, the Sanford Fieldhouse was the first of the 4 to be built. And according to the director of Power Sports Performance Program, Scott Hettenbach, it's also the most inclusive.
In here we house the Power Sports Performance Program, along with our sport academies for football and baseball. We've got a big presence with DASC soccer, hundreds and hundreds of kids that come through here, all different age levels. We've got a full physical therapy clinic in here, so we see clients from 8 to 80. They don't have to be athletes. Anyone can come out here for their physical therapy. We've got our runners clinic out here. Biomechanists are here, so we can do running analysis on triathletes, on runners at all different levels. And then our Sports Science Institute is out here also. So concussion research, our environmental chamber, VO2 max testing, so really where the sports science meets sports performance all under one roof.
The Sanford Fieldhouse organizes its own events, and it serves as a ribbon that ties each complex together.
We co-program with the other buildings on the site, so whether that be the Shields Iceplex, Match Point Tennis, the Pentagon, and with our academies that are here. So we have our football and baseball academies that are housed in the field house. At the Pentagon, we've got our volleyball and basketball academies. So we'll co-program with different programs during the course of the year, where maybe they'll do their skill sessions with those academies and then come over and do some strength and conditioning work with us, or maybe a nutrition seminar, and so we tie all those pieces together.
The Fieldhouse proves proximity really does make a difference. From physical therapy and nutrition to strength and conditioning to specialized training, you can schedule it all with just one appointment.
We can do that all in one setting, and the convenience of that and also the interaction of the staff. No client, no athlete falls through the cracks because of that, because we interact and talk about that every day.
Across the street stands an even larger facility. At 160,000 square feet, the Sanford Pentagon not only seats 3,100 sports fans, showcasing 9 courts, but it takes you back in time as soon as you walk through the door.
This whole project, the Sanford Sports Complex, the Sanford Pentagon, was the vision of our CEO, Kelby Krabenhoff, and he spent months researching small town gymnasiums. I mean, driving out to the middle of nowhere to, kick open the locked doors and pull the tarp off so they could see the floors in these old gymnasiums, really trying to get a feel for how to recreate that small town South Dakota 1960s atmosphere.
This state-of-the-art facility is home to the Skyforce and NBA Development League, but Jesse Smith, an executive director and legal counsel at the Sanford Pentagon, says it's also recognized for hosting a diverse lineup of events.
We've hosted a lot of events, some Division I basketball, some Division II basketball. We're home to the Sioux Falls Skyforce, and we've done some RFA mixed martial arts fights. It's very versatile. It hosts a lot of youth basketball, a lot of youth volleyball, and we've tried to do some concerts and try to keep the mix unique and interesting to our fans.
The Sanford Pentagon attracts several visitors during the summer months with AU basketball tournaments, volleyball and basketball academy events, and an all-nations camp which introduces Native Americans from the upper Midwest reservations to the game of basketball. Popular schools like Wisconsin, Wichita State, and Florida Gulf Coast have flown in just to play on the throwback court. And Smith says it's the regional and national recognition that has been the most interesting part to witness.
Division I coaches, people in the basketball circles, they know who we are now. When we opened, it was just a gym in a cornfield, and now that people have seen here, they've been here, they've seen it, they've felt it, they know it's much more than that. They know it's more special than that, and when we pick up the phone and we call Division I head coaches, they know who we are now. ESPN, Midco, Fox, they all know who we are, so we've had some great partnerships with television and schools and organizations around the country.
The other 2 facilities that make up the Sanford Sports Complex are privately owned, and although they're geared more towards specific sports, it's a place for active lifestyles to flourish and athletes to get even more in touch with their coordination. The Shields Iceplex is a 3-sheet ice facility used for a variety of activities. Hockey camps take place every week in June, and open skate sessions are available year-round. If you're interested in taking lessons, joining leagues, or even hitting the ice for a weekend, this center will serve as home base. The Last Giant is the youngest of the four, but provides an indoor recreational area for what some call the sport of a lifetime. The Huther Family Match Point is a 6-court tennis facility with junior tennis and adult programming. If you're wanting to get a quick match in and don't want to commit to a league, you can rent a court by setting up an appointment. And if you don't have a partner available, you can rent out their advanced ball machines that have unique programming that can emulate different game scenarios. There's also a new addition in time for summer, a family fun court that aims to get parents and children involved in skill-building drills as early as possible.
The Sanford Sports Complex as a whole is aimed at getting youth active, engaging them, getting them to play a sport, and whether it's football or basketball or soccer, it doesn't matter to us. We want to be able to serve the youth of Sioux Falls and be a community asset, so that we hope that someday kids are riding their bikes out on the bike pass and pick a sport, any sport. We can accommodate you out here.
Just 3 years ago, this area wasn't much to look at, but it's the hope that the Sanford Sports Complex continues to create excitement as a health and wellness land that grows with the individuals that it helps develop.
Now it's becoming the sports campus, and literally every evening when you come here, there are hundreds, sometimes thousands of people out here for different events. So it's turning into this entire campus, and every year there's more and more growth. So I think this whole area will kind of be a Disneyland of sports performance as we look back 3, 5, 10 years from now.
For more information or to get direct links to each of these complexes, you can visit the Midco Sports Network website or the Facebook page. That's all the adventures we have for you on this week's episode. Be sure to join us next week for more Dakota Destinations.